Welcome back to another week of painting with me, Bailey Tillotson. I'm super excited. This week we are doing a fun floral card. This is perfect for Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, really any occasion that you're wanting to get crafty. So you can just change this saying to whatever you want it to be. But before we get started, I just want to share that this watercoloring book is now live. We have changed the size a little bit. It used to be quite a bit bigger. This is now a 7x10, which is perfect for if you're traveling, just something fun that you can put in your bag with you. And we've made some changes to the layout. So now we have a border, but there's a little bit more extra room down here. And that is so that you can practice your colors. Make sure you like what you put down before you paint your final piece. So super exciting, and I'm just excited for you to be able to paint this. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, let's do this. So if you can't tell already, I've started, but then I realized I wanted to switch the camera angle for you so you can see better. So what I did is I found a green that I really wanted. That first green was more vibrant, so I added some purple in, and bam, I have my forest green that I love. And now we are just painting some really simple leaves. So the first thing you're going to do is use the tip of your brush, and you're going to do this clean stroke for the stem, and then you come in and you're going to use it goes from light pressure, and then you add pressure to your brush, and then you lift it up. So you can see me do that as I go about each petal, and you can go back and add color, do whatever you need, but that's just the technique that I'm using is light pressure, add more, and then lift off. So for this next flower, all we're doing is I'm mixing together some purple with a little bit of blue, and this has more of like a lavender sage type feel, and it's really simple. So I'm checking to make sure I like the color, and then you can practice this one with me. Okay, so this technique is the same as what we did with the leaves, where we do very light pressure, push down, and then lift back up. So with this next one, it's similar, but we're not moving our brush. We're literally just pushing down, adding pressure, and then lifting off. So as we start our flower, the bottom little bundle is going to be bigger, and then as we go up, it gets smaller and smaller. Now, the pressure or the direction of your petal is the direction that you point your brush. So as you can see, I'm pointing my brush the way that I want my petals to be facing. So when I've taught this in the past, I know a lot of people really focus on how many petals goes in each bundle, but really it doesn't matter much. You're just putting a random amount in each thing, and they're kind of facing up and outwards. So once you have that, we're just dropping in a stem. And it's okay if it bleeds into your petals a little bit. That just adds some fun shadowing and texture. We're actually going to I'm going to mix a little bit of blue, and we're going to drop it into the bottoms of our petals. And that just kind of makes that purple pop and just adds a little bit of interest, which I think is beautiful. So when you're done with that, and you can mess around with it for a bit until you're comfortable, we are going to move on to the rose, and then once we've learned that, we can apply all three of them to our final floral card. All right, so I have my pink, and I'm just going to be starting in the very middle of the rose. So we're just doing like little C motions. So I have my first tiny C, and then I come on the other side and do the opposite. So now I'm just going in a circle using those same motions, and I'm leaving just a tiny bit of white space. You don't want to overdo it with your white space, but leaving just a little bit will help just kind of separate those petals for you. And then as you go outwards, your petals just get a little bit bigger, and it's okay when they touch because your paint, it's going to make it easier for your paint and the colors to spread. So you're doing this all really with one tone, and then once you feel confident and good with what you have, I like to drop in just a darker version right into the middle. And you see how because it's wet, the water just really brings it out and it looks really beautiful and loose. So I like to keep the darkest area in the middle, but then I do add just a tiny bit of color into the inside of the petals. So I'm going to play around with just one more rose, and then I will show you just a quick little rough draft of what we're going to do for our final piece. So first, we're going to do a little square with the crayon, then we add our roses. Once our roses are done, we can bring in the lavender, and then the greenery comes in last to fill in any empty space that we have. And then we top it off with our custom phrase in the middle that you can say whatever you want. All right, now we have our final card that we're going to work on. This is a 4x6. So if you have watercolor paper, you can cut a piece into 6x8 and flip it or fold it in half, and you're good to go. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing a little square to border what my custom text is going to say. Once you've done that, you're good to start on your roses. So just a refresher, you're going to get your pink and do C motions. So it gets bigger as you go outwards and you're leaving just a little bit of white space. It's okay if your petals touch. It makes it just that much more fun for when you put that darker color in. So you can play around with it. You're just going to be putting just a random, maybe 6 or 7 flowers throughout the border or the outside of your card. Okay, so now we're gonna mix the color that you want for your lavender type flower. I am mixing together some purple and blue. Either of those colors will be beautiful with this card, so you can't go wrong. Once you have the color mixed, you can test it out on a little scratch piece, or if you just want to be brave and just go in for it, then let's do it. So kind of same thing as the roses, where we're just randomly putting them kind of symmetrical just to where that the colors are still working together on all sides of the card. So once you have the color that you want, you're good to start just putting them randomly throughout. Okay, once you have that, you can mix the green that you want. Just a refresher, if your green is more vibrant than you want, the cool thing about the color wheel is if you put the opposite side, so in green, you could put some red, that will help to kind of neutralize it and make it more foresty looking. And I love that. So that's what I'm going to do with my green, and I even added a little bit of blue. And I'm just doing some random little spots of greenery. And I'm gonna do some small vines like we practiced, and then those leaves that are a little bit bigger, I'm gonna put around the roses. So once we're done with that, you can fill in the rest with, you can kind of move the colors around how you want. Or if you think, oh, this is beautiful, I love the white space, then that's perfect. You can be done. But I'm going to add in some orange in the background once it's dry. All right, if you decide that you want to do a background, I would leave just a tiny bit of space in between your flowers and greenery, anything that you've painted before this point. Just leave a little bit of space between your background and that. It just adds a little bit of interest, and it makes for certain that your colors aren't going to blend. So I'm going to do that, and it just looks so beautiful. Whether you leave it white or add a background, it's going to turn out just stunning. So I hope that if you're making this for yourself or for someone else, that they love it, and I'm just excited to paint with you next time. So if you haven't already, go subscribe, and next week we'll be painting a outline that is from the Floral watercoloring book. So you're not going to want to miss it. And yeah, I'll see you next time.